Oh, we're rolling? Well, then we gotta get this into frame.
Oh, yeah.
There we go. I have a corporate, I shouldn't mention it. I'm just supposed to have it in frame and be seen drinking it.
Yeah.
You know, this is my, what's the one that the Paul brothers have? They have a drink that they're always...
I don't know, but if the conversation we just had is any indication, this will not be edited out. So this is all on you. I will not grace you with like, how refreshing is it?
Oh man, I love a Sprudelwasser. If you're living in Germany, you need to be drinking Sprudelwasser. You don't have to learn German.
Give me a little Sprudelwasser in my iced tea.
You were trying to.
I know, it's okay. Make me fizzy. Oh, that's lovely.
Is that good? Or
yeah,
more?
give me a little bit more. I want to taste the mineral. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
And the thing is, when I originally got here, they're like, okay, you know, if you're not going to learn the language, you at least have to, you know, drink the Wasser.
Yeah.
And the problem was I was drinking
that
Brandenburger Quell regular. And regular is a lot of bubbles, and I got a sensitive tummy. And then I discovered the Brandenburger Quell medium, and the medium, it's just the perfect amount. It's bubbles. It's a light on the bubbles do an aromatic dance on your tongue.
Aromatic dance, yeah.
Yeah, it's or whatever word you said.
Yeah.
And it's just a great water. It comes here from Brandenburg. I love shopping local.
Honestly, and the medium is such a life hack for expats that don't know how to drink sparkling water. It's like, I also love, like, since I'm not going to learn the language, I have to drink the Wasser. That sounds like a job center. Like, would you like to take B2 German or would you like to drink the Wasser?
Yeah, and I'm like, it's just easier once a month to have Flaschen Post bring 8 crates of sparkling water to my house. And, you know, that's... My father-in-law doesn't like it, but it's good enough for most people in Berlin.
Yeah. It's honestly, people say Germans are not nice, but medium feels like their compromise of like, we'll give you a middle ground because we understand that these bubbles might be too intense for you.
Exactly. I mean, they are like behind your back. Like, I'm sure after the Flaschen Post guy drops off my 8 cases of Brandenburger Quell medium, you know, I close the door and he whispers to himself, "Pussy." But you know, I that's fine. I'm willing to take that. You know,
I think it's almost like a spectrum of like the more fascism you had in your country, the more sparkling your water has to be. Like Germans and Italians are obsessed with the sparkles. I don't know what that is. And the more, like, it's like, yeah, you could agree.
I think what you're telling me is that, like, maybe Trump needs to, the new thing is Trump water, and it's just like a very strong sparkling water, you know?
You open it like champagne, like it pops. Like
it's just one of those Cokes with a Mento, just like...
Oh, is the election? When is the election?
Who cares?
That's going to be... Oh, it's going to be so much...
It doesn't matter.
So excited.
Yeah.
Man. So yeah, are you anyway, welcome back to the Lazy Eye Podcast. Hey everybody. Hey, sponsored by
Brandenburger Quell medium Sprudelwasser. Get it at any reputable grocery store in the Berlin metro area. Get it via Flaschen Post. Use the promo code Lazy Eye at checkout for 0% off.
Yeah, what's Flaschen Post?
You don't know Flaschen Post?
No.
Okay, so Flaschen Post is like a service.
You experience Germany, I experience Berlin. We have like you have a German wife and a dog, and you live in the it's like
the old communist building.
Yeah.
And I don't like all right.
The only Germany I've experienced is like the punks from the 70s that still make industrial experimental music. So you go to a basement and it's like a young twink with like a modular synthesizer, and then the headliner is a 73-year-old German guy with like some fucking pipes connected to a weird instrument making noise for an hour. That's the only Germany I've seen. So I don't know what the...
To be fair, I think that from an American perspective, that is what people think of Germany.
Yeah, and that's what I'll keep believing.
Yeah. No, but Flaschen Post, I feel like the people should know, you should know, it's a great service where they come and they pick up your fund and they deliver your drink. So it's like, my child-like nature, when Anya and I, we found an apartment, which, Anya, my wife, we needed the apartment to be able to get legally married for me to be able to legally stay. And yet still, when we got the apartment, I was kind of bummed and like, maybe we can still keep looking because there were no Spätis. And I was like,
that's heartbreaking.
I didn't move to Berlin to not live next to a Späti. Like, I want to live in a Kiez.
Yeah,
there should be a smoky, shitty bar with darts downstairs and a Späti that I could go to at any time of the day where they start to get to know me and we'd be, strike up a friendship. And
I love moving to Berlin and now having a curfew. Like, oh, it's 10 p.m. Can't do anything.
Exactly. I was like, this is bullshit. And so Anya was like, well, the deal I can make with you is that we'll order Flaschenpost, and so once a month we just get like a couple crates of beer, a crate of spicy ginger beer.
I love that.
8 crates of sparkling water. I'm not joking. 8 to 10 crates of sparkling water.
So now do you like quench your thirst with medium?
I only drink sparkling water at home. I keep them iced, and then like the true lesbian that I am, I add a little bit of lime juice and a little bit of lemon juice. Give that a shake, and sometimes pour it over rocks, sometimes don't. Sometimes add a little bit of ginger beer, sometimes don't.
No, that I love because to me it's like entering like refreshing lemonade drinks, but there's still I'm so thirsty I need to chug still water.
And there's not such a health concern. I'm like, it's just water with a little bit of citrus. Like, it's not hurting anybody.
Yeah, but don't you have that like, I need to chug some still water now because I'm so thirsty?
Yes. Yeah. You can't, it's not as chuggable.
Like when you're like sweaty and like hot and you're like, you can't, like sparkling water is like poison. Like, I just need to breathe and have a...
But to be fair, I do feel like sometimes with sparkling water, if you're very dehydrated and like your spit starts like getting like congealed on your tongue. Is this the kind of podcast you normally do?
Yeah, I was just thinking in my head, is this the most boring segment of the podcast that we've ever done?
We've lost all the audience immediately. I really apologize.
I need to put this...
going to have to edit.
I need to edit this and put it in the end. Yeah. For anyone that's dumb enough to stay like for like 50 minutes to an hour, then they get rewarded with a sparkling water bit.
Yeah. Yeah, we could welcome back to the Lazy Eye podcast. I'm your guest, Patrick. I'm here with your host for the evening, Paris.
Yeah, I feel like I finally have back on the podcast my content creator nemesis.
Nemesis.
No, we did a podcast together that you never released, right?
I did never release it, but that was because it was us doing that podcast was the reason that I decided to stop doing the podcast completely.
What the fuck?
No, I'm kidding. It was just I just at that point was like, this podcast isn't going anywhere, and that was also another one that I would spend hours and hours editing, and I was just like, I kept being like, I'm gonna do it, and then I didn't, and I still have the raw video somewhere, but I don't know if people need to see us get almost come to blows over dubstep or not. So
I mean, that was a fun one. Yeah,
maybe I should have. What I should have done is treated this like the Tonight Show and just brought clips from that. Like, I've got a clip to show.
Got a clip to show. Honestly, yeah, and that would save us recording this now. Like, we can just do 10 more minutes and just throw to the old pod. I don't know even in what state I was. Was I blonde? Was I bleached? Was I insane? Was I happy?
I don't remember. If you want me to say the only detail that I remember about your appearance from that day is that your nails were painted, but not well.
Yeah, they never were painted well.
Where it was like, and I know this is someone who also paints his nails, where it's like you miss, and there's like, like a full brush up the finger on the skin.
I know, and the other thing is, I mean, I've been like biting my nails like fucking insanely pathologically since I was 5, and I had a little moment where I didn't and I could paint them, and then I started biting them again and I would still paint them, so that would create this mess. It would just create this mess of just like fucking just half painted, half eaten, disgusting stuff.
Yeah. But that's nice, I guess. So what do you think the nail biting is about?
It's just a lot of anxiety that I'm not dealing with. 'Cause I was also a very chill person for so many years. Like I didn't really worry
For
much.
so many first 5 years.
Yeah, from 5 to
From 0 to 5, I was so chill.
So chill, dude.
And
Smooth.
then I started having to go to kindergarten. I was like, whoa, this is fucked up. Am I gonna have to like do stuff for the rest of my life?
I know. I was like medium sparkling water for so many years. And
First, they came for my diapers, and I was like, wait, you're gonna ask me to piss and shit a specific place and time and clean up after
Dude,
myself?
I gotta stain my shit? Nah. Anyway, so yeah, I don't know what that is. There's like pictures of me like playing sports, and I would like still while the action was not really pumping, I would just feel like this and just like look at what's going on. And I remember
Like you were the artistic director of
yeah, like is he gonna pass or is he gonna shoot?
Yeah. I think we could use a little bit more light. I think a backlighting could really make this scene come alive.
Need more blocking. Yeah, I remember my dad just going like this on the sidelines. I'd be like, oh yeah, there's a ball there. So yeah, I don't know what that is, but now I actually have anxiety, but I have so many things. Like I smoke, I drink, like I'll be smoking and biting, and like it's fucking too much. Like it's. I don't know. It's ADHD and anxiety and all these lovely things.
Yeah.
But thank God I have a really, really beautiful narcotics sort of like addiction that really
That just evens you out.
That evens all of those things out.
Nothing like a little self-medication.
Yeah, it's always proven to work.
Yeah. 100% of the time.
Whenever immature, psychotic, semi-adults start medicating themselves with things they found on the street, it's really a recipe for just...
I had a really dark thought recently.
Please.
So I've been I mean, you know me. I've always loved my drugs. I've loved my drink, my weed. But lately, it's really become for the first time since I was in my early 20s. The last like year or two, it's become a real thing where it's like I smoke a joint every night when I get home. Not even a full, like a half a joint, which is harmless, really, by the Berlin scale.
It is.
But then, you know, I'm also kind of like, well. You're still smoking something every day. That's not great. And then, I know this is going to sound random, and then I saw that Morgan Spurlock died. Did you see that Morgan Spurlock died? You know Morgan Spurlock? He did Super Size Me.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
And he died. He died at 53. And I was like, fuck, that's so young.
Yeah.
And then it made me start to be like, man, like, maybe I should, like, I'm in I'm fully in my mid 30s. Like, now is the time to start taking care of myself. And then I was like, well, 53 from now is like 20 years. I'm like, that's crazy. Like, if I only had 20 years left, that's kind of crazy. And then I was thinking back and I was like, yeah, but 20 years ago, I was 13, which was forever ago. That 20 years took forever. So honestly...
You're fine.
Maybe I'm fine to die at 53. I was like, 20 more years actually seems long.
Yeah, I mean, and also if you think about like how many ways there are to die, if you give me a guaranteed like, for me like 27 more years, whew,
for you, it would be 27 more years till 53?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
still.
Which 27 is a lot. I mean, that's a full Janis Joplin. That's a full Jimi Hendrix. That's a full Mac Miller.
And I mean, if you take out their childhood, it's because it's 27 years of being an adult.
Exactly.
Because they had 27 years, where the first 17 are like, they really had 10 years. Like, let's say from like, I don't know. So I'll take like, it's not a bad deal. It's like everyone wants to live to be like, I don't know. Like I want to get.
I think the key with it is that you can't have kids.
Yeah.
Because you can't have something that gives you more energy for life, or like something where you want to see.
You can't have something that gives you more energy for life. That was the dark part. That was the dark part.
You don't want to add something that would give you a reason to live.
Dude,
that would ruin the whole thing.
Oh my god! Imagine getting pleasure and fulfillment out of something. Ew.
God.
No, but you're right, because now like my parents, you know, my dad is like 63. My mom is she's still young. She's 50. But
holy shit, your mom was a baby.
yeah. Oh my god, dude! Sam Talon, he's been replying to all my stories.
Fuck, tag me in some of your stories. What the fuck?
and you gotta try.
Repost my shit. God.
Yeah, you gotta be nicer to me now. But on Mother's Day, I like posted a couple of pictures, and then I just like I wake up and I turn my phone and I see I think I took a screenshot of it because it was one of my only notifications that were visible, and it was Sam T replied to your story, dude, your mom's a piece.
That's great.
It is beautiful. And he invited me to go over and stay at their house in Michigan.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know how serious he was, but I think like if he extends that to other open micers and he knows how like they'll come.
Yeah.
I think he might have meant it.
But I mean, he's got the whole like punk rock
He
ethos,
does.
like, you know, fucking lived on a commune. So I feel like
he is one. Yeah, like I think they got another like fucking colonial like old fucking house that they need to fill with bums. So yeah, I'm glad to be one of them. Yeah, what were we talking about? Oh, dying.
Death.
Oh,
reason
death.
to live.
Yeah, no, but it is the case of like now it's like at my parents, I'm like, I want you to live more, and I want you to live to be very old. But it's like if you don't have kids, it's like, oh, dude, getting in your 50s is like, yes.
Yeah, and it only gets more and more from this point because it's like, as you get older, your parents die, and then like other people are having kids. You have less and less human connection to the world. So then by the time you are 53, it's like no one's gonna care.
Yeah.
You know?
Also, I don't want to be one of those people that buries everyone. I also have a lot of older friends. Like, I'd rather be one of the people that go in the first year, so a lot of people get to be sad about it. Hopefully. And then so many of my friends have amazing ideas for my funeral. It's all like fucking multimedia installations and insane stand-up comedy things. Like, that'll be fun. Like, I don't want to be one of the last ones to die where there's like 5 people that remember that twat, and it's like a sad little collection of 10 people. Like, he was nice, but complained a lot.
Dying young, I mean, the sad. I hope there's an afterlife just so you could experience, you know, some of your funeral. Because that was when I used to be like real in my suicide phase.
Yeah.
That was the fantasy. I was like, it's the funeral.
Oh my God.
It's who cares? Like, I had this insane thing where I was like, I tried to make this work as a joke, but it never worked. Where I was like, I always was like, man, if I killed myself, I bet I could get so laid. Like. I bet I'd get so much sympathy pussy if I killed myself.
That's a great premise. Because it's like, I think like probably there's like more than 50% of the population was fantasizing about dying and then seeing everyone and like, oh, now you're crying. Like even like high school kids are like, oh, now you love me, bitch. Like there's it's so weird how like killing yourself becomes a revenge fantasy. Where it's like, you know, you're dead, right? But like, we all had this thing of like, dude, I'll die, and this girl that never talked to me will be like, oh, but he was so cool and sweet.
Yeah.
And then my friends are gonna be like, oh, we loved him and we didn't show it enough. And it's like such a lame fantasy, but I love that bit.
Yeah. Well, and also the funny thing is that so that's the fantasy, and then the reality is that like all of the people that you're like, oh, they're going to be thinking about me, it will barely be a blip on their radar.
Yeah.
And then the people who actually care about you and are important in your life will be devastated for the rest of their life. You will ruin their life.
Completely.
Yeah. But you know,
I love it.
Yeah.
The first 2 chunks are sparkling water and suicide.
Yeah.
What do you think will flag this episode? The branding of the sparkling water or the suicide bit?
I think maybe we've got a small enough brand that I'll TikTok it. The unaliving ourselves will be the problematic part.
Yeah.
Okay, you want to hear this is really cringe.
I love cringe.
But in college, which was my big suicide phase, I studied broadcasting, so like I had to do videos and stuff. And one of the projects was to like make a music video for like a song that already existed. And I don't even remember who it was in the song, but I want to say it was, what are those brothers that like do the sad folky music? Rick Rubin famously like did a song with them, and then they were like super emotional. He was like, "Let's do another take," and they were kind of like, "Fuck you, we need like a what is it? I want to say the almond, but that's not it." Anyways, doesn't matter. And so the video was, it's I got.
I was so ready for this, please. Yeah.
So the video is, it's like, so it's this kind of like sad, melancholy song, and it's first of all me pretending to play the acoustic guitar.
Perfect.
Which I don't know how to play the acoustic guitar, and you can clearly see I'm just air playing it, but like super earnestly.
Yeah.
And the video is, it's like cutting back and forth between a girl who was my girlfriend at the time and a guy, my buddy.
Please tell me you have the video.
I must have it somewhere. You okay? Do we need to? You want to get to a clip? I don't know. The problem is I don't know if the other people would be down to be.
Yeah, no, it's okay. It's okay. Yeah,
I can send you a clip of the me airplaying the acoustic guitar. But so it's videos. It's like cutting back and forth between them, and they're very sad.
Yeah.
The idea being that it's kind of leading you to believe that they've broken up and they both miss each other.
Yeah.
And then the big reveal at the end
like
is that I died and that they're both missing me.
Of course.
Which is so self-centered. And like I like straight-faced had my girlfriend be like, I've got a cool video idea. And she didn't.
Oh, baby.
Yeah.
I mean, what a good spot. Yeah, I love the early 20s, absolute sadness, but also so arrogant. And you're like, how can you be so sad and not have the confidence, but be the most confident person ever to have those ideas?
Well, it's what I think is always makes me laugh about that era and those type of things is like one of my guiding like North Stars creatively is this Ira Glass quote. I think I've mentioned it to you, but you know Ira Glass. He did This American Life, and he has this quote for people who are starting out in doing creative stuff where he's like, there's a gap between like your taste and your skills, and he's like, what gets you into doing something creative is that you have good taste. Yeah. And that's why you're so dissatisfied with your work at the beginning, because you have good taste and your work sucks and you have to just do it over and over and over again for many, many years before you are able to close that gap. And he's like, and the point of the quote is like, don't quit, just keep going, put yourself on a deadline, make things. Beautiful quote.
I mean, it is. And,
yeah.
And you can also,
yeah,
and you can also see the difference of like people that just like, like walk off stage or do a thing, and then they're like, "That's right," and people are like, "What the like?" Even when they do, I was like, it's like you can if you're like attempting something, and then you're just happy with that attempt. It's like you're a psycho. Yeah, it's like you don't have the taste for like where this could go. That you understand how far away you are from it.
Exactly. I completely agree. But the reason why I brought it up is that it's funny to me because I'm like, that's such an important quote to me. And then I'm like, the taste in question, that video. And it's like, what if you get into it and you don't have good taste? What if you get into it and you have kind of a bland, pretty, basic, cringy taste?
I mean, you mean 90% of the things that get created every day? What if I like died and everyone was like sad about it? I cry. I died. Man, yeah. No, it's fascinating. I mean, yeah, it's so funny because the guy that was doing like the documentary.
Oh with me, you should tell the people what happened.
So, let me press record again. See how it stops.
Does it stop after 20 minutes or something?
Half an hour, yeah.
Half an hour, yeah.
All right.
What?
So,
yeah.
Okay. Patrick Moore, the comedian, he runs a few shows.
I used to run a few shows.
He used to run a few shows before he got cancelled. And
I shouldn't have let out that suicide music video.
Ever since it came out, it's just audiences were like, we don't.
Yeah, they don't fuck with me.
Yeah, don't fuck with.
They're like, suddenly this isn't seem sweet and likable anymore.
It's like we thought you were trying to make us laugh, but you're trying to make yourself happy.
Yeah.
And we're not into that anymore. But Anyway, so I did a show a couple of months ago because I was gracious enough to ask enough that he just complied.
That's actually not true. I invited you on the show.
Yeah, that is true.
I told you, I was like, hit me up, ask me for a spot sometime.
It was a mixed thing because we were like at a show together.
And I was like, I haven't seen you in a while. And then I was like, I'm running the Friday show. Like, drop me a line. I'll put you on if you want to do a spot.
Okay, maybe you're right. I don't ask anyways. I don't. I'm too like. I'm just always like.
I want to clarify it because there's very few people that I do that to.
I appreciate that. Yeah, because
I run my show where I'm like, I don't want other people to realize that I'm doing a show. I want to control this completely. Don't hit me up.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a brilliant sort of thing. I just want to run my hour, and then I say there's other comedians too, but I don't really like them.
Patrick and friends.
Patrick and friends. Two people that do 5 each. No, anyway, it's great shows. I'm very happy to be there. It's a Friday. We go in. There's like 3 comics. I'm going in them. Anyway, so during the opening like hosting sort of part, Patrick talks to the audience, and it starts becoming quite clear there's a lot of people that study film or make documentaries or make films, and it seems to be like a big group of them that are making a lot of things. And through that conversation, a couple of them apparently are making documentaries about comedians.
Yeah.
So
about improv comedians.
About improv comedians, which is heartbreaking.
Which I feel like I turned into. I was really working with it. I felt like I made some good moments out of it. I felt like I was firing on all cylinders, you know?
Yeah, Patrick was being extra Patrick.
I was singing and singing. I was loud as hell.
Very loud.
No one could not hear me.
Very loud. He was basically pitching, you won't even need a boom mic to be that close to me. It's like he was just trying to make them consider the production effectiveness of it. So
I was like, guys, I have video footage going back decades. You don't want to see me doing a tasteless music video in 2012?
My mom's had top of the range fucking home equipment. Yeah. Like, they wanted to document everything. We can get retrospective on this piece. But also Patrick being a little bit the needy lesbian parented lovely boy that he is, he's quite like intensely pitching himself to them, which is also it's the other thing of like you always have to pick comedically you pick an angle that's comfortable to you, that you can sort of like exaggerate it. And so like Patrick picks this angle that really works for him of like did you listen to my like I'm fucking professional fucking fisherman in Alaska for salmon with 2 lesbian moms from San Francisco, and you're choosing some fucking twink improv comic that's like, oh, are we in...
For the record, I don't think I called them a twink.
I did that. I did that. In case his moms are watching.
That lands better from this packaging than from this one.
That's true. What, a twink?
Yeah.
Some gay twink. No. So he's like picking his angles, like what the fuck is like, and it's funny, and it's and also a little bit like, okay, dude, it's like they're kind of like, okay, we get it, you're interesting, like leave us alone. So then another comedian goes up. The crowd is also not like crazy responsive. It's a sort of like a...
It was not a hot night generally.
Yeah, it was not a hot night, so it's like, it kind of like takes work. So I go up and I'm sort of just like, my angle is always a little bit like, I don't like myself or anything in this room or my friends so I'm just kind of like shitting on things and throwing stuff and talking about piss and queer people and just I'm kind of just like
the classic Paris stand-up set.
Yeah, the classic
piss, art, Berlin, I'm gay but I'm not gay, and isn't that weird, and fuck you, I'm gonna call you a faggot, but whatever, you can't get mad at me.
Yeah, it's a classic. It's a Paris package. Yeah. It's the Paris.
I come insecure lesbian moms. The Patrick package.
The Patrick package. So we each kind of come with our package. It's like an industry meeting. It's like, why do I have to go to exhibitions that feature piss anymore? I don't like this anymore. And Patrick is like, why not me? My mom's picked me.
Someone has to pick me.
So anyway, that goes on. I have to run to another show. I leave. think not much of it. A couple of days go by, and I get a DM, and it's a guy from that show going like, "Hey, I was at Patrick's show, and I really liked your set. I found it like very interesting." Where I'm like, okay, that's a cinematic point of view of the set.
Yeah.
It's like some people go for that was hilarious, but you went for it was interesting angles that I appreciated. I'm like, okay, cool. No, he was actually quite sweet. And then apparently like the
Which, by the way, what also gets me about this whole situation, of course, that I asked them that I should be in the documentary, but the reason that they were even able to DM you is like one of the things that I pride myself on my shows is that I'm always like, I try to promote all the comedians super hard, whatever they do, shows they have or podcasts or whatever. I like do the thing. I'm like, hey, look on my thing so you can find the comedians that you
that's
like.
how you get God, baby girl.
I did it to myself.
Yeah, it's self-inflicted as always. Yeah, your now girlfriend is crying in the back. It could have been him. Anyway, so he gets in touch, and apparently the improv comedian backed out because that's what they do.
You're saying he yes-no'd?
He yes no, yeah. he no end.
No, and it.
Dude, that's the reason why I think improv makes me so angry is because to me the funniest thing is always no end. And they only do yes. Because to me, it's like, if you ask me, oh my God, is this a McDonald's? It's like, if I go yes, that's the least funny. If I go no, I think it's an abortion clinic, then we're starting to get somewhere.
Yeah, but that's, I agree to disagree because, because, I mean, the point of the yes and is like, let's make it collaborative. So you've put us in McDonald's. Or I put us in McDonald's, but you're interested in there being an abortion clinic involved. So the yes and is like, oh yeah, it's one of those new McDonald's that's a McDonald's / Planned Parenthoods. So you get a Big Mac and then you get your abortion on the way out. It's a drive-through abortion. See, that's funnier than no, and it's at the abortion clinic. You have to admit, a McDonald's
but it's
/ Planned Parenthood, like a KFC
it is quite
Taco Bell
funny.
mix.
It is quite funny. Yeah, you're right. When am I ever right?
So anyways, this improv queef emails, and then they reach out to you and they say, we want to be in your documentary.
Yeah, we want to do the documentary about you as a proof of concept, basically. It's not like we want to put all our production value in you. No.
You're like, have you seen my eye?
Yeah. It's like, also, I didn't have a great set.
Yeah,
so
but you were the best dressed of the night.
I was the best dressed, yeah. And I was also like, they're like, I was the most likely to be a train wreck in real life so that a documentary could be fascinating.
And also, I mean, you already have a film aesthetic, a Berlin aesthetic, which I assume is like...
It helps, yeah. Anyway, so they approached me, and then we end up doing a little... little like docu thing, and he sent me like I'll show you after. It's actually very cute. Like he put together like a 2-minute sort of like teaser for like the school and the like production. Anyway, I think the reason I mentioned that is because in those 2 minutes there is because we're talking about taste and like this idea of and even in the fucking like document there's so, and then in the 2-minute teaser. There's a whole chunk that I'm like, do I think everyone has something interesting to say? No. Have you seen the shit out there? I'm such a fucking whiny cunt that even with like 15,000 euro camera and a crew around me, I'm like, isn't everything trash? Like,
well, my favorite part about this story is I didn't find out that you guys were doing the documentary until you showed up at the show that I was on.
Yeah.
And like I was already having a bad night. Like
you were so bitter. I got a bit angry.
I got pissed at the legitimately fuck you guys because the documentary crew people, because I'm like, I also think, I'm trying as you say, angles. It's like my angle, they're like have the camera in my face. My angle is of course like fuck you guys, fuck Paris, whatever.
Yeah.
But like I just hosted the primetime show for like no people, which means like I didn't get paid as much as I wanted to. It's fucking hot. And then I can't remember if I asked Faye or if Faye asked me, but whatever, I somehow agreed to do the late show, after hosting a full 2.5 show, I'm not like, let me do this empty room.
5 minutes at the late show, whatever.
At the late show with tables of like cold gaze just staring at me insolently. Like
after doing an hour for no one in there, let me do 5 minutes at 11:30. It's not a good setup.
It's not a good setup. And then I'm surprised by the documentary crew that was supposed to document me. Whatever.
And then, it's like I walk in and I have a fucking crew following me like I'm fucking Princess Di.
Thing. And the thing that pissed me off is then they were sitting in there just talking and like being distracting during the show, during my set. And I'm like, you know what? It's okay if you're doing but fuck you. Like, go outside.
Fair. Yeah, I explained it to him because I was looking back at the footage, and there's also a moment at the wall where it's you and Patrick, and I'm not sure if it's like real or not, but he seems actually like so. And I'm like, yeah, it's like. It's an angle again, but also I was a little bit annoyed because I'm like, bitch, be happy for me. What? I'm like the most supportive guy that never gets booked for anything and never does anything in this scene. And I'm like, you go, girl.
Never gets booked for anything. You get booked.
I get booked for a couple of things,
no,
but
you get booked very well.
No, I haven't done most shows. I don't get booked by most producers, and then I've done 2 showcases in.
You're always on all the Queen Bee shit.
Yeah, that's an open mic that's like exclusively for queer people. It doesn't count.
Okay.
It doesn't count. They just.
What shows have you not been on?
I mean. Okay, I mean, there's no point in the part. Okay, I'll take.
It's both.
We'll take a break, refill the iced tea, and I'll tell you. But yeah, anyway, I'm not bitter, but I'm just a bit bitter.
That's the most comedian thing ever. I'm not bitter, but I am bitter.
I am bitter. No, but you know, it's like. Most people that started after me in this scene did so much more comedy and they go booked for so much more shit, and everyone's doing their thing and everyone's
But are they doing more spots than you?
Yeah, way more.
Yeah.
But it's also like this thing of like I was always very and I was like, oh, Patrick's gonna be there, it's gonna be funny, and he's gonna be like, hey, good on you, pal. And then I show up and it's like, fuck you take my film crew and you do my documentary, and I'm like, gee, I'm sorry, I'm just like, something nice happened to me, I've been depressed for 6 months, give me a hug. Anyway,
I don't apologize. I do.
It's okay. I won't stop being better.
I mean, what about the whole you're like best buds with Sam Talent? I mean, things are going you have things going your way.
Yeah, there's a few. There's a glimmer.
And then you fuck off to Greece every summer.
Yeah, for 3 months. Don't do stand up.
And just DJ and fucking bartend and hang out. You have a pretty good life. Maybe
that is true.
The reason that I'm bitter is that I'm fucking here in my mid-30s, barely making money. My wife getting more and more anxious about our economic future as our dog is maybe gonna starve. And I'm like, what do I gotta do?
That's fair.
Anywho, but I'm fine.
Yeah,
because I can always kill myself.
Yeah. Yeah, and now
unalive myself.
Unalive yourself. And now it'll be your wife crying, not a girlfriend. That's more legit.
Yes, exactly.
Like having a widow is different than like.
Ooh, you mean a sad funeral and everything?
Yeah, like sad GF, sure, but like widow is like. That's some legitimacy to your suicide.
Do you think she'll like hang up a photo of me in her second marriage's home, or?
No, I think it'll bump them out. Imagine like you getting like your monthly delivery from Flash, and then you have to open the door and there's like a picture of a guy your wife was in love with 5 years ago. Like,
that's always a crazy relationship. Do we need to take a break now? Sorry, but
no, let's end on this.
But I always think that's the most interesting ex relationship that you can have, because it's like you can't be jealous of a dead partner.
Yeah.
And like that dead partner is always going to be a part of their life. And so it's like there's a certain you have to have a certain mental fortitude.
You do. It must be scary to like, because we all do things in relationships or with people that maybe like remind them of or an ex, or they do something and you have a flashback. Like imagine just like, oh, like that's how my dead ex-boyfriend used to do it. Like it's fucking, It's a little bit like, oh, you eat pussy just like the guy I was in love with and he killed himself.
Yeah.
This is not confusing for my vagina at all. This is great. Fuck. Okay, let's take a little 10-minute break and.
10-minute. All right. Yeah. How?
Yeah, we're back. We took a little half an hour break where I was not bitter and.
But we talked comedy, which is my favorite thing to do.
Yeah,
so.
no, we talked comedy in a nice way. We talked a bit about the scene in a not so nice way, and then again in a nice way. And now we're back, and we feel way better about ourselves.
Yes.
Hey, cheers, my love. Cheers
to you, my friend.
So, I mean, the professional Alaska fishing era of your, is it still going? Like, do you still do it? Like.
I haven't done it. I didn't do it last year, and I'm not scheduled to go this year. Although after my last tour, I was like, maybe I need to go fishing again.
How was that experience, by the way? Like the hustle of like.
It was good. I lost a lot of money, which is not what you want to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think. I mean, since we were talking about the whole imposter syndrome thing, I really had this moment where like literally last week where I was like, you know what? I think I could say it to people, like, I'm a comedian.
Yeah.
Like I'm actually doing it. I have an hour of like good material and I'm not paying my bills with it, but I'm trying. People are paying me, but not enough to cover my expenses. But yeah, I don't know. It was good. I mean, I'm planning to do like a little. Since no one wants to make a documentary about me, I'm gonna make it about myself. Then I guess
that's how you beat the system, baby.
Yeah, getting high on my own supply.
It's a self-financing season.
But I like filmed all the shows, and I filmed like some just like footage around me going around and stuff, and I've been like writing out some scripts for it because I think what I want to capture is just like how much terrible stuff happened, and like I think I even told you about this, but I was writing about the Milan show that I did, and I booked a 100-seat venue, and I was like, yeah, here we go. Like other comedians from Berlin have done this venue. I can do this venue, and I sold 13 tickets.
Double digits.
9 showed up.
Fuck. What a wait.
And so like there was definitely some challenges.
Yeah, I can't imagine that like anxiety of being in that place and then having to go up and like I think that's the thing that like as a performer you think of like also like having to be in the position of doing it and then being like, oh, I'm the person that has to go on stage now for this that I put myself into and like it's so weird.
Completely. And like that was what I was writing about today, where I was like, man, I wanted to cancel so bad. Like if the show had been in Berlin, but it's like you're like, I paid for like a flight and a hotel, like, and a lot of the shows that I was like dreading the most ended up being like that one was super. Everybody was super sweet. We had an amazing time. Like afterwards, a guy sent me a DM and was like, I've been having such a hard time, and like this is the first time I've laughed in months, and like one of those little things where you're like, okay, yeah, like so I lost money and it wasn't what I wanted it to be, but it was still good for them, and that's also the other thing I like why I wanted to do the touring is Two things. One, you ever listen to The Good One on Vulture? It's a podcast about jokes.
I haven't heard that one.
They have different comedians come on and tell like the origin of one of their jokes and like how it advanced. And the Nate Bargatze episode's really good. And he talked about when he first started touring, and he was like, it's a whole new thing to like learn to do that amount of time. And so that's why I wanted to like try. And that's also why I'm going to keep going, even though I'm losing money, is I'm like, I feel like it's making me, when I get back, I feel the leap where I'm like
100%. I mean, it's also like all our context of being a comedian is being a road comic and suffering for the first years and doing all these hell gigs and losing money on the fucking transportation and going there and it's a shitty thing. Like, there's so much of the context of being a comedian, especially if you're into stand-up, which means American stand-up. Not like, oh yeah, there's this French girl that does a weird thing with a puppet. It's like, okay, but we're talking about a different thing now.
You're talking about theater, and that's gay.
That's gay. You're talking about yes and people.
Yeah.
However, people. So much of the context is there, and there's a romantic, real putting yourself in a position to experience what it is to be a stand-up part of it. That like, I fucking like, it's like almost this like dread envy of like, no one really wants to be in a position to experience things of that nature where like things maybe don't click sometimes with you, but it's such a quintessential aspect of like being a comic that it's like,
completely. And I mean, I think also the difference between, there's two major differences between like doing it in the States, I think, because that's also like the kind of romanticized road dog thing that I came up on.
Yeah.
But one is, at the end of the Nightmare Scenario 9-person 100-seat venue show, I am in Milan and not Birmingham, Alabama. Like, afterwards, I went to a wine bar and had a delightful cheese board and several glasses of red wine, and I was like, well, this isn't the worst way to lose money.
Yeah. This is not a Motel 6 by the highway.
Although, to be fair, the place I stayed in Milan, it was a hotel, but with a communal bathroom. And there was a paper sign taped to the inside of my door that explicitly forbade hand washing your clothes in the bathroom. I was like, that's the level of place I'm staying. But then the other thing is, a lot of times if you're going to do these like road dog bar shows, it's like, it's still like a show versus it's like these shows, it's like, it's just you. There is nowhere to hide. You have to start it. You have to get the plane off the ground. You have to fly the plane. You have to land the plane. And sometimes you crash it, and sometimes it won't get off the ground.
Oh, man.
And then doing these at this, being still like only 5 years into it, I was surprised. Like in the fall, I was doing it. You do the bar shows, and the bar wants you to do a break, but you don't have money to afford an opener. So you try to do a half an hour of kind of pretty mediocre crowd work. Then you do the break. Then you do the hour. And I was like, this is like the worst. And this time I felt like I was filling 80 or 90 minutes pretty easily.
Hell yeah.
With the break. And it's like, that's crazy. I mean, it's not like all material. It's personality and pizzazz and, you're fucking wearing a dumb shirt.
Hey, don't be guy. Yeah, I love, now all I can think about is the incident that started the piece of paper that says no hand washing clothes in the bathroom. It's like, fucking what kind of group, like, what
I think that's hilarious about it is like, it can't have been an isolated issue.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's something that would have had to have happened more than once for them to be like, we need to print signs out and be like, no.
That's like, who has that bit? Someone has that bit about, I think Samuel, about going to the rec center, and he's like, there's a sign that says, don't swim if you have diarrhea.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, it's like, that shouldn't be rule number one. Like, how often does that happen that it's rule number one?
Yeah.
It's like how many guys stayed in that hotel, and we're like, oh, we're going to a wine bar later. We gotta get the pizza stains out of the shirt. Oh.
Yeah. That's my whole goal. Like, right. Well, the first goal is just if I could get to a point where I don't lose money.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
That would be if I pay the expenses. That would be and then the next goal is to get out of like hostel dormitories and like just not even something crazy, but just €100 a night hotel.
Yeah.
You know,
is there a way to do it? Like, did you do it? Because maybe with like local comedy clubs where like maybe they can also half organize the show and get like do it in there, but you don't. That's not.
I tried that, and my general experience is anytime someone did a deal like that where they're like, we'll take 30%, we'll promote it, blah, 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 you know, and then they just don't promote it.
And you get the same turnout that you would have gone by yourself.
Well, you get worse turnout because because you're thinking they're promoting it, so you're not doing anything to promote it.
Yeah, because you're like, I'll show up and they'll have a crowd.
Exactly, and and that's how you end up doing your solo for 4 people. So
and they get 30% of that.
And they get, I mean, and that I will say that guy was very. He made sure I left with enough money that I covered my trip, but yeah, it a lot of times those deals have not worked out for me.
Makes sense.
Because they're just not going to care about your show as much as you do.
Of course.
Yeah. So yeah, but I'll tell you.
Maybe if you unalived yourself, they would care. Maybe then it would sell out. Fucking sold out tour.
That is. I think I could start filling rooms if I was unalived. You know,
dude. If I died, that 100-seater would be. Mwah.
Can I tell you the insane? Like, I legitimate thought in the back of my head, not even, but from before you just mentioned that, but like I do have a insane idea in the back of my head that like if I ever died, I just have terabytes and terabytes of footage from like shows and podcasts and skits, and I'm like, someone's got to make a docuseries or something on the mediocrity of the straight male lesbian. Like,
you leave a note to the guy that did the documentary about me, like, my password is
I had a couple other good bad moments on the show. The one is I was doing the show in Basel, and it was in a nightclub, and they do shows there, and like because they're like the club opens at like 11 or something, so it's like you do the show at 8 and
then we bring
you're done by 10, and then it's before the whatever. But I'm doing the show and it's not going great. You know, like first of all, I mean, I don't know if I would consider it a mistake, but it's like I had these guys, Teddy and Sid. And Sid's like a professional comedian.
Yeah.
And he opened. He was in town. I was like, yeah, do you want to do a set? And he's like, yeah. And that was a mistake. Like, when he just came out with like his 15 best minutes, and then I'm like, all right, here goes my work in progress hour.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people talk about like starting to like headline for the first time, and then you do a club, and then so they put a feature or whatever, and then like Jessica Kirson would like feature in New York for everyone during their hours, so she would do 50, and she's one of the most insanely funny vicious and like everyone like talks about like having to like all these fucking murders in New York and in other places where they would feature and go around town featuring for different people, and they just showed up and they're like, it's their first time headlining, and the feature is one of the most bona fide killers ever, doing tight 15, having a shot and leaving to the next show, and they're looking at them like, I want to be this person. You have to do a fucking like hour of just, you have 40 but you have to fill an hour, and it's just like it's like
nightmare. I can't. But so it wasn't like the best show. They were kind of a colder audience anyways, and the energy, like the way I felt, like it was going well, and then it was like the show just was getting, it was also too long, you know, like I did 15 minutes up top, they each did 15 minutes, we did a break, and then I'm coming back to do like it was
full hour.
too much time. But about 45 minutes into the hour, right in the middle of one of my punchlines, all of a sudden, just all of the nightclub lights go on, like the strobe, the circle with the like.
Oh my God.
The thing, because it was just on a timer at like, hey, 10:30 or whatever, or at 10 p.m., like before we open, the light system turns on, and I'm on stage, and then I'm just kind of like, hello, is anybody there to turn the lights off? Like, and like for a while, like I'm just up there like, if they don't come, I guess we'll just have to like end the show. Like,
Sid, are you there?
Oh, he had left a long time ago. Just secretly hoping that he would stick around to watch and give you notes, and then being like, I gotta get out of here, and you're like,
yeah, of course, dude. Dude, like, thanks for jumping in. Yeah.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for being here. Yeah.
Should I like invoice you? Oh, thank you. You're not gonna take my. Thank God. Okay, because I would have lost a lot of money if I paid you. So that one was bad, and then the other one, maybe I told you this one, but I was in this tiny little town in Denmark, and it was in a bar. Yeah. I went there because of our friend Anders, and he was like, Lego's near there, so there's a bunch of Americans. And the only thing was, I was like, the venue seemed weird, and the setup was terrible. Like, literally, there's like the front door, and then there's like a little slightly raised area in the front window, and they're like, that's where you'll stand. So like right next to the door, the bar's right here, and then people are kind of like going far down the bar here. There's literally people like in the booth on the other side of the door that like can't hear or see me at all. The show is it's pandemonium. It's not great, but like thank God they were Americans, because there was this one woman who had been Reiki certified and had a Pomeranian who really like, I was like,
that's your like demographic all the way, baby.
I was like, me and you, bitch. Like, this show is for you. And
I can finally do my 10 minutes about crystals.
Yes, exactly. But also that one, like halfway through the show, I noticed like everybody in the back half of the bar, like I was really working to be like, okay, this room is weird, so like let me keep trying to bring people in. And the people in the back half of the bar were like, I just like lost them, and then I was kind of like, what's going on, you know? And then I just look, and the bar had just turned on the Munich Real Madrid soccer game in the middle of my show. And they had all just been like, yeah, let's watch the soccer game.
Yeah. Semi-finals, you know?
Yeah, it's important, you know? And literally, like, that was one of those moments where I was like, I had maybe 20 minutes left, and I was like, oh, all right, I'm just doing my closer and get the fuck out of here. Like, fuck this noise.
Man, fuck, that reminds me. Okay, we're gonna wrap it up. Have you done they did the show, like the after work, whatever, like that whole, like Bruno was hosting, it was at a hostel in 𝐿𝐼𝐴, like next to the clubs.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I haven't heard this story.
So the show is at the lobby of the hostel. So you have check-in, bar, lounge area, vending machines, televisions, and then a microphone and 20 seats in the middle. So like the seats and the microphone take up
It's crazy that whoever was producing that show didn't have the insight and ability to understand that might not be a good comedic situation, and
how would that happen?
Stand up for the comedians and make sure they had a good experience. It's almost like there's some sort of grifter who is just trying to like rip off real artists like to make money for themselves.
Yeah, wouldn't that be interesting if that happened? What if stand-up comedy was a startup? Would that work all the way to Dresden? Yeah. Yeah. Anyway. Fun. So I do, because also the other thing is like for a while I didn't even know, because I saw like Bruno, so I didn't know who it, because then I realized that's so
you're like, oh no, like, oh okay, Bruno's doing it, and then you're like, okay, 'cause Bruno sold his soul,
yeah,
they think it's like working for them, but in the long run it is gonna bite them in their ass, and you know what, we'll see, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm old and bitter.
yeah, maybe we're better, maybe we're not.
Yeah.
Maybe they're just like selling like penny stocks, and then the stock market's gonna fall down, and then they're gonna realize like, oh, we should be in jail.
Yeah.
Anyway, fuck, it's too dramatic for for the bullshit that this is. Maybe we'll die, and then you'll realize we were right.
Yeah. Once we unalive ourselves, then you'll feel real bad about working with that douche.
Anyway, so I show up, and I was clubbing the night before as well. Also next door to that place. So I went home, couldn't sleep. So I'm like, now I'm at the show, and I'm like, a real Paris is fucking popping, kind of like, this is gonna be fast and desperate and funny, or it'll get sad and uncomfortable real quick, which is most of my sets. But so I'm there, and dude, it's like 20 people audience. There's people checking in. There's football game. And I go on stage, and literally like there's fucking loud conversations at some point during my set where I'm like, it's funny, but I'm also like just like just like this like fucking desperation of like what the fuck is going on? People yelling in the back, and then a couple holding hands walks. So it's like the seats, and then like the microphone, and then there's a tiny space, and they holding hands, and they literally pass in front of me, like while I'm performing, they just pass in front of me. In literally one of the most graphic, saddest points of being a performer, where it's you and your audience, and you're trying to hold on to them in this panic situation, and then literally just
it's literally like in The Lion King when the dad is like slipping. That's you in the audience. So you're like, you know it's inevitable that you're falling, but you're like, with every inch of your body, you're like, no,
and then they pass by like it's a fucking shopping. I think it said something like, yeah, it's okay, guys. Do you also want to finger me or something? Would you like to fucking tickle my asshole? Jesus. Yeah, and I think I had my favorite joke of all time, and that set, it got 0 laughs, which I was very angry because I listened back. Because I was like, oh, good, there's people checking in while I'm checking out.
That's a good line.
Thank you. I thought it was for my level. I thought it was quite smart and clean. It had no reference of dick, piss, or vagina in it, and it was actually funny. I was so proud of myself. I was like, oh, that's actually like right, like
something to take to the Tonight Show.
Yeah, that's something I could do on TV. And everyone was like, no, go back to calling these straight people fucking ruining your life. Anyway, Pat, always so fucking good to have you. We can fucking talk for hours. So fucking fascinated to hear about the tour. I'm actually legitimately like impressed, and I hate using the word when like someone that you do something together, something that's younger than you says like, I'm proud of you, and you want to go like, could you shut up, you little cunt?
You don't understand. I have 2 moms. I love anytime any single person in the world tells me they're proud of me.
All right, good.
Like, I wish a few more people would tell me.
All right, good. Because sometimes
my wife.
Because sometimes when people say like, I'm proud of you, and they're not like 50 years older than me, I feel like, are you condescending me? Like, no, but I'm legitimately like also someone like we're kind of in the same like stand-up class, and I'm legitimately like happy and proud of you for like fucking embarking on that, and it's it's fucking good to see, buddy.
Well, look, I mean, you too could go and lose 2,500 euros if you want to. So
I'm not ready for people to be proud of me yet.
That's my new open mic joke. Is I'm like, I have some jokes about being on the tour, and I'm like, when I say I'm on tour, I'm like, that sounds glamorous, but it's just this, which is usually like a half-empty room, and then I'm like, but I lose 300 euros.
Yeah, it's flipping on its head.
Yeah. Anyway, but thank you.
Man.
That's very sweet. Thank you for having me. Can I promote?
It was a pleasure. Please, yes.
When is this coming out?
Wait, this
doesn't matter. It was
this
joke.
Friday. in 13 months.
Is that what people say? But I have a new thing. I have a new podcast that I'm very excited about.
Hey, Pat's coming back.
Pat's coming back. It's called the Dogcast, and it's me and my dog Oscar doing a podcast together. And you can find it on Instagram and or YouTube at Pat Moore Comedy. And I have the first 4 episodes. The first one comes out on Wednesday, so it's already out. Go check it out.
Go check it out. I like it that you're now like really found your niche of like the housewife market.
Exactly.
You're really pushing hard there.
This is who I am. This is who likes me. And then once I get famous, then I'll start making the jokes about beating women, you know?
Of course, yeah, you gotta wait it out.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice. Look out for my new podcast. I do it with my vacuum cleaner. It's called.
It's actually funny because one of the episodes of my podcast, I let Oscar bring a subject, and he brings the conspiracy theory about vacuums.
Yeah.
Easy. Like, not enough people are worrying about them. They're very scary. We just have them in our homes.
We can do like a
crossover episode.
A crossover episode and call it "Doesn't This Suck?" All about vacuum cleaners. Everybody, thanks for listening to the 2 people that make it to the end. We love you here. Drink medium sparkling water if you're adjusting.
Brandenburger Quell specifically. Thank you.
Specifically. Thank you. See you next week. Hey.